How can I stay away from family members who just want to argue about religion? Okay. Um, yeah, as you know, arguing about religion is not deen. It's not what the Prophet came to teach us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wala numari fi dinillah, as Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi says, and we don't argue regarding the religion of Allah. If there's a scholarly discussion between scholars or students of knowledge, that's one thing. And if you're not qualified to take part in it, then stay quiet. If you do have some learning, whatever, then pick a place where you can discuss it without causing issues amongst people. Honestly, you go onto like you go to some social media platforms, and it's just people arguing really like nuanced issues. A, either they don't understand it, or B, they're just declaring so and so to be a kafir, and just casually, like literally, you have to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and answer for these things, and you don't have enough awareness that there's a day of judgment before you start posting these issues. What are you going to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, commenting on his deen without any training, without being qualified for it. And secondly, if there are, if someone does have some point to make, or pick a relevant space, make a Telegram group or something, right? And discuss it with people who are like-minded, or people who even are not like-minded, but they're qualified to understand your discussion. Whenever there's people who have debates, right, especially when there's two scholars having a debate, and they'll have a debate in 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and these people will come do their preparation and put across their argument. But most of the time, the people sat there clapping away don't understand the arguments. And so it's probably best done in an appropriate setting. Arguing about deen doesn't help anyone. And arguing about deen, or unnecessarily delving into, well, this sect says this and that sect says this, it's the opposite of spirituality. It's the opposite of the tazkiyah and the tasawwuf that our deen teaches us, because those matters are about relinquishing and removing and refining the egotistical tendencies within us. Whenever someone's got this hard attachment and or identity with this particular with a group, even if it's true and the group is correct, and they're ready to argue at any time or ever, then that becomes their dhikr. And instead their dhikr should be Allah, 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 or La ilaha illallah, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wasallam. That's what it should be, and that's where the benefit comes. But instead of that, what do? Is argue with this and argue with that. So if you do have a family member, and just politely excuse yourself, right, and say, look, I don't consider this deen. Right? I'd rather focus on learning what's going to improve me. I'd rather focus on learning about Allah and His Messenger than to know about what this group is saying or that group is saying. And if he thinks that you're wrong, if he thinks that you don't pray properly or whatever, you just keep learning properly from one of the legitimate sources of learning, and and then just say, okay, thank you, right? And don't get into the argument. And if you can't sit with the person without it happening, then just minimize your contact as best you can. You're obviously not going to cut them off, right, the family members. But if it's not a beneficial or healthy relationship, where it just ends up in an argument, ends up in a fight every time the topic of religion is brought up, just don't discuss it with them, right? And eventually the person should take the hint, okay, I don't think I should bring up this topic around this person, but just do it all politely, right?
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.